In this video, I'll explain you the basics of ISO 27001 Lead Implementer course. Who is it intended for, how is it structured, how long does it last, how to prepare, and I'll also show you how the lessons look like using, as an example, Advisera's free ISO 27001 Lead Implementer course. So this Lead Implementer course is basically intended for professionals who want to do ISO 27001 for a living. So usually these are consultants, so who want to deliver ISO 27001 consulting jobs, but also for security officers who want to build their knowledge around various cybersecurity frameworks, including ISO 27001. This course usually lasts 4 or 5 days, so between 30 and 40 hours. And when you compare it to Lead Auditor course, you will see that Lead Auditor course focuses more on auditing techniques, whereas of course this Lead Implementer course is focused more on how to implement the standard. This Lead Implementer course usually consists of lessons, workshops, and an exam. Some training providers actually separate lessons from workshops. Some of them merge them together. And I'll show you now how these lessons look like. Okay, I'm showing you now the ISO 27001 Lead Implementer course from Advisera. This is an online course, and you'll notice that the structure of lessons is basically the same or very similar to other training providers. In any case, you can enroll for the course completely for free by clicking here, or you can also purchase the access to the exam if this is what you're aiming at. When you click to this curriculum, you will notice that there are 12 modules, out of which the first 6 modules are around ISO 27001, explaining the standard in detail. And then the remaining 6 are around implementation techniques for the whole project. Starting from module 1, it explains what is the standard, the structure, the main principles, the ISMS, how to implement the requirement. This is a very higher level overview, and in the later modules you will see much more detailed explanations. Implementing as a project, documenting the requirements, what are the benefits. And then when we go for a second module, this is mainly about clauses 4, 5, and 7. Organization and its context, needs and expectations of interested parties, scope of the ISMS, leadership and commitment, top-level information security policy, roles, responsibilities, authorities, information security objectives, and then clause number 7, support, resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. Module number 3, risk management. This is mainly around clause number 6. So risks and opportunities, risk management process, risk identification. There is also one exercise around risk identification. This is an online exercise. Risk analysis and evaluation, information security risk treatment, statement of applicability, risk treatment plan. And then as you move on to module 4, you will see that this is do phase, mainly around clause 8. However, it also follows up on risk treatment plan 613 and then goes into implementing the risk treatment plan. Operational planning and control, operating the ISMS, outsourcing of operations, controlling changes, risk assessment review. So this is all the do phase. And then module 5 is around check and act phases. So these are clauses 9 and 10. So monitoring, management, analysis, evaluation, internal audit, management review, non-conformities, corrective actions, and continual improvement. And then module 6 is around security controls from Annex A. And there you have these people controls, physical controls, a couple of lessons around technological controls, and a couple of lessons around organizational controls. And this is basically where the explanation of the standard ends, and this is where you start learning about the details of how to implement the project. So first, how to get your project approved. So for consultants, get more sales and meetings with prospects, how to get the interest of the top management, how to present your project, other techniques for presenting the project and writing a great proposal for the client. Then preparing for the implementation, defining the scope, key stages, tips for project management, estimating the project, communication, use of project management tools, roles and responsibilities, what you have to be aware as a project manager, which kind of documentation you need, writing a project plan, and doing the kickoff meeting. And then module 9 is about the implementation. So project work assignments, managing work assignments and resources, smooth project execution, how you gather information and recommend changes to the project, how you introduce policies and procedures and actually introduce them into their operational day-to-day use. And a very important one, how to overcome the resistance to change, which is unfortunately always present. Monitoring, control, and completing the project, verifying, issuing status report, communication about the project status, monitoring and control a meeting, internal audit. This is more in the context of what is the purpose of internal audit in the whole project rather than explaining the internal audit techniques. What is the purpose of the management review, preparation, execution, and acceptance and implementation closure. Module 11 is what is it important to understand about the certification. So, should a company go for a certification or not? How to choose a certification body? How does the certification process work? Stage 1, Stage 2 audits, preparation for a certification audit, logistics for certification audit, preparing your employees for certification audit, what to expect from the auditors, what they can, what they cannot do, and what happens after the certification audit. And finally, module 12 is about maintaining the certification, so improving the management system, top management leadership, an example, how you keep actually updated the whole system, what you have to do until the next surveillance audit, and what is the surveillance audit in the first place. So basically, these are crucial things that you have to know about implementing this kind of a project, and this is what this course explains you. You might wonder whether it's better for you to go for an online course or for a classroom type course, and this really depends on your availability and the proximity of a training provider. So if you do have a full week to invest into this kind of training, and if the training provider is quite close to you, then it's better actually to go for classroom type course, because this will enable you actually to focus on only this kind of education during this week. Whereas if you can spend only a couple of hours per day or maybe 1 day per week, or the course provider is too far from you, in this case it's better to go for an online course. And if you ask yourself which course provider to choose, basically you should use 3 criteria, no matter whether this is an online provider or a classroom type course. And these criteria are reputation, quality, and accreditation. So reputation means what students think in general about this course provider, how are they satisfied with these courses. Quality means basically the clarity by which the course instructor presents you the course material. So if you can really understand what this person is presenting you, if you can really learn from this person. And accreditation means confirmation from accreditation body that this course provider or that this course is of highest quality. Now, it doesn't really matter for this lead implementer course which accreditation course or a course provider has, as long as there is an accreditation. Now, some training providers might require you to prepare for this course, other training providers might not. So here are a couple of tips on how to prepare if there are no requirements for preparation. So first of all, you should read the ISO 27000 standards upfront before the course starts, and you can purchase these standards directly from ISO organization. And you should also read some articles or watch videos around ISO 27000 clauses, about implementation steps, also about the certification process, so that you actually get this knowledge up front. And in the description below, you'll find links to all of these materials. Okay, hope this was helpful. And in the description below, you'll also find a link to this free ISO 27001 lead implementer course that I was showing you. And you can go through all course videos without paying any fee. We charge only if you go for the exam. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and please do subscribe to my YouTube channel not to miss any of my new videos, and I publish these videos every week. Thanks for watching.